Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Elliott Wave analysis update. In this video, we're going to be talking about ADA or Cardano, and I'm going to explain why this coin is extremely bullish from an Elliott Wave Theory perspective. If you guys and girls have been following me for quite some time, all of you know that I'm extremely selective when it comes to altcoins. And that being said, my view for ADA hasn't changed ever since our last update from about 5 months ago. In fact, our projection targets are still well underway. And as you can see, we were calling for a major bounce to occur when the markets were at its worst sentiment at around the major golden Fibonacci level at around the 61.8% to the 78.6% for the wave 2. And again, just very quickly, please make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel before I forget. If you haven't already, if you want more updates on Bitcoin and altcoins, your support really does help me pump out more of these videos. So like I said, Cardano is in a mission, possible moon mission that is in my opinion, to higher levels. But more importantly, I have increased my targets in order to adjust for the next cycle. Now that we have a little bit more data to work with, we can finally find some degree separation to help compensate where the pullbacks might occur along the way in order to achieve those targets that I have mentioned. So disregard the labeling here. This isn't a super cycle degree. As you can see here, I have just have it so that everyone has an easier visualization. Usually I just work with 3 or 4 degrees, but since we have a little bit more data to work with, I'm just adding a bit more degrees. So with that being said, Cardano, it is looking very, very nicely when it's zoomed out on the macro scale. It's just due to the fact that, again, one of my criteria when I start looking for altcoins is that it doesn't have history, at least below 2020 or prior to 2020 rather. And do we have a clear 5-wave impulse to the upside and also a 3-wave structure to the downside? And right now, we really do have that. As you can see, we have an 8-swing move that could be completed as one Elliott wave cycle. We have a 5 here and a 3 here. So that is 8 swing moves consists or translates into a possible Elliott wave cycle. And if you guys are new, remember one impulse wave to the upside equals one larger degree. That's consisted of 5 waves to the upside. And then we have a corrective phase, which is a 3-wave type pullback. And that is the corrective phase. And right now we do have all those criteria being met. And then this next move here is that we have another minuscule type of 8-swing cycle, Elliott wave cycle here, where you can see we have a 5-wave move up and another 3-wave move down that could be starting or kicking off. Again, that could be the beginning of what could be the extension to the upside. So the kickoff phase, as you can see here, we do have a very strong contender for this being a bottom or at least a protected bottom. And again, we do have a warning level and a major invalidation level that it completely invalidates the structure. But right now we are so far away from that I do think that there is a possibility that this is going to be a continuation or an expansion phase to the upside. But that doesn't come without its hardships. Again, I do take into account of a more balanced approach here. I do think that we will get pullbacks along the way when we're especially talking about wave 1, 2 pullbacks. And I think that right now this intermediate degree might be coming into a conclusion here for this cycle, just taking into consideration for what we're seeing for Bitcoin and what we're seeing for XRP and a lot of other coins, that we may be completing a possible 5-wave move to the upside, and then we'll be looking for another 3-wave pullback that might be similar to this type of a pullback. Now, when we get that 1-2 pullback, this bear market correction, it might be around 60 to 70 to 80% of a pullback. And that, again, is going to be a hardship for a lot of people where they might find a lot of investor loss of investor confidence. And then, those wave 2 pullbacks, depending on how far it pulls back, and if we're really understanding what the Fibonacci levels are at that point, and if it comes back down to the golden Fibonacci level, that will be an opportunity for me specifically to take a stab at what could be the continuation to the upside, since we do have so much data that we work with in the prior moves that could be giving us signals that this could be working still within the extension phase, and then you might be possibly missing out on the most profitable wave of these higher degrees. So right now, I think ADA right now is just kind of on a limbo. It's just working a slower pace. Remember, ADA is one of those few coins that has worked off schedule and kind of worked on its own timeline. We've seen ADA work 5 waves up back in 2020, which was a very strange time for a bull market to happen, but ADA was one of those few coins that did a 10x move to the upside, 1,000% or so. I don't even think, I think it's 100x or something. It did 10,000% or so. Yeah, there we go. And we also had ADA do one of the strongest pullbacks compared to a lot of other altcoins, around 90% plus of a pullback. So that's why ADA works on its own timeline. And I think this is why ADA might be working on its own timeline for this expansion phase as well. Although there is going to be some alignment when it comes to major altcoin shifts. So with that being said, I do think that we are still working within this extension phase that we are observing in this green degree, as you can see here in the submenu degree. This move here is going to be the most profitable wave, and if we get a confirmed 1-2 pullback, I think that that will be a very strong contender for a possible bottom of a smaller degree within this extension of the primary degree specifically, and then this will be the most profitable wave, and in return, this remaining residual moves of the 4-5s will be that kind of place where we can start taking profits. Remember, no matter how bullish it may be to the upside, you always still want to be taking profits on wave 3s, kind of observe how wave 4 is pulling back, and then see what kind of corrective pattern is playing out, and maybe take whatever positions remaining off of the table for that wave 5, or if you're a little bit more risk hunting, then this may be a good time to start taking more positions for a last move to the upside, and then you can start taking profits on that wave 5 as well. So in my opinion, I think ADA is well within a very, very strong possible impulse wave to the upside that might be even respecting a possible new Elliott waving channel here. And if we're going to be expecting how this wave 3 is playing out right now, I don't want to even make any bold predictions on how far this wave 3 is going to be, but right now we just work with what we're having on the smaller degrees. We have already, like I said, one cycle degree completing, or one Elliott wave cycle, and then we also have another smaller type of Elliott wave cycle in 8 swing patterns. The same thing might be working here in a smaller degree fashion, and this might be that more parabolic phase, and again, that does eventually translate to what could be that larger wave 3 to the upside. Now, how this wave 4 might conclude on the shorter time frames is going to be up for debate. Again, where markets are kind of in a limbo. I think that we may be just working in some kind of flat structure or some kind of triangle structure, which is a corrective pattern, and those are usually the best observed within the wave 4s, and most of the pullback has already been made within that first initial actionary wave within the corrective wave. So whether this is a triangle, whether this is going to be some kind of A, B, C, D, E structure that could be making up for this wave 4, that could be also creating that equilibrium structure. Also, we could be working in what could be a flat to the upside, which could be a 3 wave and such. This was a 3, and then another impulse pullback for this wave 4, and then work for that 5th wave. It is really up for how the market's going to be playing on the shorter time frames, but I'm here to just kind of be a time machine for everyone. That, again, back 5 months ago, we were talking about this level being supported, and that's exactly what happened, and we already got, what, a 300% move off of the lows. And if you're already positioned at levels, you're probably wondering what is going to be the next move, and I'm here to kind of tell you that I think that we may be working within the next expansion phase to the upside. And again, these wave 3 targets of this degree here, the larger cycle degree, might be around $20 to $30 or $40. And again, market cap does not constitute for how these markets work. Please remember that. A friendly reminder that market cap shouldn't be the sole reason why you should be investing or not investing into a coin. It's really based on purely supply and demand. I have a lot of videos explaining why this is the occurrence that we're observing. And again, as we reach these levels, that again, that kind of notion already dies down. So you have to really take into account for how not only Elliott wave structure is telling or observing, giving us that all conclusion in terms of how the markets are functioning. Is just an observation based on supply and demand and market psychology. So I believe that the next expansion phase is well underway, but do take into account that we might have a bear market correction that will also be in play with Bitcoin and also other altcoins. And just remember that the wave 3 is possibly also well underway if the wave 2 gets supported. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully that was helpful. If you are already positioned within ADA from a long-term perspective, fantastic time to kind of just get a reassessment of what's going on. I think that right now you don't have to be worrying too much, as we do have 2 levels of invalidations. Nevertheless, you should still be taking profits. That's something that I always advocate. You should always be taking profits on at least these wave 3s, or at least taking some off on these wave 3s, and then, kind of reassessing what happens after a wave 5. And then on a wave 2 pullback, that's when you can either DCA your position or take a more put off your table in kind of a profit intake, a stop loss if this turns more impulsive to the downside, because there's always going to be alternatives to what could be a bear market scenario. So hopefully that was helpful. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Bye bye.